Hi there and welcome back to Pierpoint Custom Rod Building and Repair. So following the removal and the application of the decal, I'm now going to do my high building right across the decal. So just to talk you through the process and how to get prepared. So you need to make sure that your rod goes into your rod turner. Okay, now make sure that with the rollers it can be protected. Okay, because you don't want to damage the blank. There's my dust cover, so it's been overnight and just keeping the dust off. Make sure you've got some tin foil underneath where you're going to be doing the resin just to catch the drips. I do like to have my workshop nice and warm when I'm doing the high build, so straight away you can probably see that we're close on about 30 degrees there. So that's well into the upper 70s, which is good, and that should help you get a nice sort of level bubble free finish. Okay, so temperature is important. So what we need to do then, obviously remove your dust covers and the like. So just a little bit more preparation that you need to do. So mark out your area of high build on your blank, and then just use a bit of masking tape then just to mark each area on the blank. Now I use this type of masking tape. You get different grades because this is a low tack one. Okay, so it's not as sticky as some of the usual masking tapes. Okay, so I've gone on this side about 5mm past the decal. So it's all done by eye, and I'm going to do the same up here as well, about 5mm. Now what you need to make sure, of course, is when you're wrapping this on, what you're trying to get yourself is a nice straight edge. That's the point of using the masking tape. Okay, it's a little bit fiddly, but make sure that when you wrap it round, each side just matches up with the other side. Okay, and that way that's just about right. Okay, so nice and tight. Now when you get to this bit, you need to make sure that you press this down into the blanks. You don't want your resin going underneath. Okay, and that should be quite easy. Okay, now where the masking tape meets here, just make sure you run your fingernail or thumbnail along that bit there, because you don't want the resin disappearing underneath there. And all I do then is I just fold this back on itself just like that, so that when I come to take it off I've got something to grab hold of. Okay, and then just press these areas down just to make sure that it's nice and secure. Okay, so I've done that to both sides. We've had the dust cover on that overnight, so it's relatively dust free. You don't want to be touching it if you can help it, because your fingers might be greasy, so when it comes to the high build it won't take. Now I do like to use a couple of clips just to hold the rod in place. Okay, and then when we put it in the chuck, just make sure that it's not going to fall out. Okay, when you come to do your high build, that's the worst thing that can happen. So I just like to use some elastic bands around the chuck just to hold it in place. Okay, so hopefully we're all right so far. So there we go. We're now ready to start knocking up the high build. So what I've got prepared is my syringes, aluminium dish, my little stirrer and my brush. I've had that for a couple of years, so it's a bit minging, but it seems to do the job. Still got some bristles in there. And then I'll show you how to mix up the high build, what quantities, and how to get it on the rod. Okay, so that's going to be the next part of the video. Hi there, welcome back to Pierpoint Custom Rod Building and Repair. So now we're going to show you how to do the high build finish on the decal. So we're going to show you how to do the mixing. So just a bit of final preparation. You also need to make sure that the rod is level. So I like to put a bubble on there just to make sure it's straight. So that will obviously help with the leveling. So don't forget to do that. Now with your syringes, I like these because they come with the self-seal caps on. Don't get them mixed up. You've got one for hardener, okay, and also one for resin. There's my little metal dish where I'm going to be doing my mixing. Okay, so before we start, just make sure that you just clean this dish out. So what I do is I put a little drop of ISO in there and just give it a wipe inside, because sometimes you get a little bit of debris, okay, maybe some grease or some oil. So just make sure that you go through that process. And what you may find as well is that aluminium also tarnishes, that you might just pick up some, you probably can't see it on there, but some like a black deposit. Okay, so make sure you give that a nice clean before you start. So we're going to put the hardener in there first. Okay, so I'm just putting the syringe into my bottle, and because the high build has been in the workshop overnight, it's also heated up to that required temperature. Right, so there's 3 cc's, okay, on the syringe, and because it's heated up already, it's virtually bubble free, okay, because it's thinned out a little bit. Okay, so we've got 3 cc's there as well, so as you can see, fully loaded. So we've got 6 cc's of hardener in there. Like I say, you don't want to get these mixed up. My syringes will last me quite a few months because I clean them and sort of look after them. So that's the hardener, so that's 6 cc's in there. Okay, and now we're going to go for the resin. Okay, and we're also going to put six in there as well. Now as soon as this touches, once you get that in there, so that's nice and thin as well, so there's 3, and followed by another 3, so that's 6 of hardener, 6 of resin. Okay, now as soon as that's gone in there, what I then do is I set my stopwatch, okay, because it's all to do with the working time. Now I'm going to start mixing that straight away. Just get those out of the way. So there's my metal dish, so hopefully you can see that. Now I'm using a spatula for this purpose. Okay, I've set my stopwatch, and I know that if I mix for about 2.5 minutes, that will be adequate. And then you'll see, hopefully you can just see that on camera. So there I'm doing the mix. Now because it's exothermic, so once you start mixing together, it produces heat. And it's that heat that also helps to thin it down and to give you the bubble release. Now I'm not stirring it and whipping it up like an Angel Delight. I'm actually folding that in. Now already I can see that it's just starting to thin because of the exothermic reaction. Okay, now I've got it on a slight tilt, one so that you can see it on camera, and also because I want to keep the resin at the bottom of the metal dish. Okay, make sure that it's all mixed in, and you won't be able to see this on camera, but you can see just a slight marbling effect, a little bit of streaks in there. There's a few bubbles, not concerned about those because they'll come out in due course, but if you fold it like this, you've got less chance of it actually entraining air into it. So just to fold in nicely, and that's 1.5 minutes, so we've got at least another minute to go. So make sure you scrape down the sides as well. Okay, so just to show you that, and then you might be able to just see some bubbles in there, but because the mixture is quite thin, those bubbles are disappearing on their own. Okay, they're just coming out, and also because you're in this aluminium foil, it also helps you to, one, retain the heat, but also dissipate the heat as well. Okay, I'm just working a bit cack-handed at the moment because I'm trying to show you on camera exactly what we've got, okay, and what we're doing. So basically you've got 12 cc's in there to do that decal. Okay, make sure it's all mixed, don't forget the edges. Okay, let's have a little look at the time. So there's my 2.5 minutes. Okay, so we know 2.5 minutes is just enough, because I haven't been as diligent because I'm working on a camera. I'll just go for a little bit longer, but 2.5–3 minutes is the maximum time that you need. Okay, Now once you have mixed it, you've got a pot life with this stuff of say about 30 minutes, and because we're only doing the decal, that's plenty of time to get this on. Okay, so there's my 2.5 to 3 minutes, and that's as simple as that. Okay, you can see it's quite runny now because of that heat that's gone into it, as well as the temperature from the workshop, which is 30 degrees. Okay, now there's a few bubbles in there, so all I do is I blow them out. Probably not quite professional, but hopefully you can see on camera, there's my mixture. There's a few bubbles in there, but I'm not overly concerned about those at the moment. Okay, sometimes you can leave the mix for a couple of minutes if you wanted to, so you've got a little bit more preparation time, because I know I'm working against the clock. Okay, 3 minutes gone, but I know I've got about another 25 minutes before this starts to go off anyway, so I'm not in a rush, I'm not in a panic. Just going to take my time because this is quite a long piece to do. So let's see how we get on. I like to use a glove on this hand as well, so I don't get contaminated with the resin, just in case you've got skin complaints or the like. So that's quite nice. Okay, so all we're going to do, we're going to get the rod turning, going to throw some light on it so we can see what we're doing. Okay, there might be a little bit of dust on there, so just get that out of the way. Okay, and then away we go. So up to your masking tape, and then you just load this on. Okay, just get it on there, don't be frightened. You can layer it on, you can brush it on, but your bubbles will come out. Okay, it's a nice thin mixture. The temperature of the workshop is obviously helping keep this nice and thin, and also that's the key really, is the temperature, so that it reduces your bubbles. Now you can see it's dripping off the bottom, so that's why we've got the aluminium foil. Okay, you can brush it on, so quite liberally, got a way to go. It's almost like water, which in some cases is good news really, because you know that you're going to get good bubble release because of that viscosity. Okay, don't be worried about it, just get it on there. You've got quite an area to cover, so 12 cc's in total is usually about enough. And if it doesn't quite cover first time round, then when it's reasonably dry, you just put another coat on. Okay, it's going according to plan. And you want to get it on as evenly as you possibly can. Okay, it's not easy when you first start out with this stuff. It can be a little bit daunting and a little bit tricky. I like to use a wide-ish type brush. Any brush you do, doesn't have to be this particular make or model. I've had this one for a couple of years now, so always clean it out and wash it out afterwards with the brush cleaner. Then you can see that 12 cc's is just about enough to get you through. A few bubbles in there. If you want to blow on it and get rid of them while it stays nice and thin. Okay, they will dissipate. almost there. Like I say, when you've been doing this a few years, you kind of get to know the quantities that you actually need to do the job, so you're not wasting too much high build. You want to keep a little bit in reserve just in case you need to do a bit of touching up, but generally for that decal you can always put more in, it's not a problem. Okay, and then we're just coming to the end. Again, going right up to the masking tape. There we go, and that is just about it. You want to be careful around this area that you don't go too bulbous, too big, because when you take that paper off, it just can look sometimes just a little bit too proud, I suppose is what the term I'm looking for. So there's a few bubbles in there, and that's a reasonably level. Okay, finish. Just let that roll round for a little bit and that will start to go off quite quickly. So let's just do a little time check. So there you go, that is 5 minutes in total. So we've had 2.5 minutes mixing time, and then we've managed to get this on within 2.5 minutes as well. Okay, so that's looking okay. And just let that spin around for a bit. Okay, we'll come back to that, and because of the heat the bubbles will self-release anyway. Okay, now what I'm going to do, and that's all we do, so I'm just going to leave that turning. I'm just going to put my dust covers on and leave that for 3 or 4 hours, just turning on the turner there, and we'll come back and then we'll see what it looks like with the finished article. Okay, thanks for watching, catch up soon. And welcome back to Pierpoint. So the rod has been turning in the dryer now for somewhere in the region of 5 or 6 hours. I've had my dust covers on, and that acts as keeping the dust off, but it also keeps the heat in as well. So just looking at my temperature gauge, it's still maintained the 30 degrees, obviously about 78 there, so still quite warm. And now we're just going to obviously reveal what's underneath. So we're going to take the dust covers off. Okay, and let's see what we've got underneath. Let's see how we're doing with the high build finish. So I've taken off my masking tape as well from each end. Okay, so we've obviously got our straight edge. Just bring the workbench up a little bit, and there we have it in all its glory. So let's just see if we've achieved the objective with the bubble free, nice and level high build finish. Okay, let's just have a little look. It's looking pretty good from where I'm standing. Okay, so let's just release that. Let's throw some light on the situation so we can see what we got. Okay, and there we go, and there is one decal, suitably coated, nice and level and bubble free. Okay, so hopefully the camera can pick that up quite nicely. It's quite a large tip this, so I can't actually turn it around the other way, but there you go. And it should be nice and dry, which it is. Okay, not a bubble to be seen in sight. I say nice and level, nice and glossy. So the Ziplex 2500 LM restored to its former glory. So what we've done is we've obviously stripped the decal, we put a brand new one on. I'm showing you how to do the high build finish, and there it is in the rod turner, and I'm sure that the customer is going to be as pleased with that as I am. So one Ziplex 2500 LM completed to the customer's specific requirements, as they say. So hopefully you've enjoyed the video, and hopefully it's contributed to your rod building journey. So continue to follow us on YouTube. We've also got a website as well, so that's pierpointrodbuilding.co.uk, and we've also got a forum, so we look forward to post on Facebook, post on the forum, and you'll see us on YouTube. And like I say, good luck with your rod building journey. If you've got any questions, then just message us or email us. You'll find a way of getting hold of us, and then we're trying to help you out as best we can. And then we'll catch up soon, no doubt. Thanks.